Bat and the Waiting Game. Chapter 11. Banana Fish. After bath time, Bat pulled on his pajamas and went into the kitchen, where he found Mom and Janie together at the table, having breakfast for dinner, which they sometimes did when there hadn't been time to fix a bigger meal. Janie was having fried eggs, and Mom was spooning out 2 platefuls of scrambled, one for Bat and one for herself. Bat did not like runny eggs. He didn't even like it when other people ate runny eggs, because then he had to witness it. But Janie liked to dip buttered toast into the little pool of yellow yolk, and she was Bat's sister, so sometimes witnessing such a thing was unavoidable. The Bat had helped Bat to feel calmer. Still warm from sitting in the steaming water, he drifted to his seat at the table and decided that Janie's disgusting eggs were something he could overlook tonight. "We have a week and a half to memorize our lines," Janie said to Mom, diving the edge of her triangle-cut toast into the yolk stream. "By the Tuesday after next, the director wants the whole rehearsal to run without any scripts." Bat piled a forkful of scrambled eggs onto his toast. "How do you guys know where to stand and stuff?" he asked. "That's called blocking," Janie said enthusiastically. "We have to write it all down in our scripts. When to come on stage, which side we come from, where we go, when we sit down or stand up or whatever." "That sounds like a lot to remember," Bat said. "Oh, it is," Janie said. "But that's all right. I'm good at it. You probably would be good at that part too, Bat. You're good at remembering things." Bat finished his scrambled eggs and imagined himself on stage, surrounded by other kids, acting out the words from a script. He didn't really know how it all worked, so the things he imagined were fuzzy and vague. But they still made him feel nervous. "I could probably memorize this stuff," he said, "but I wouldn't want to be on stage with all those people watching." "I love it," Janie said. "I was born for the spotlight." A bright light shining right on him, while rows of people sat and stared. That sounded like some kind of punishment to Bat. "There's a room in the theater for performances and the audience," Mom said. "A show isn't a show without both. Bat and I will be your audience, won't we, Bat?" Bat nodded. "Yes," he said. "But tonight," Mom said, clearing away the plates and stacking them in the sink, "what do you two say to a game of banana fish?" They both said yes to banana fish, which was a game Janie had made up when Bat was little. Well, Bat had thought she made it up. When he was older, he found out that the game she called banana fish was the game most everyone else called war. The only difference was, instead of yelling war when 2 people flipped over matching cards, you were supposed to call out banana fish. You could play with 2 or 3 or even 4 players, which was perfect for their family. Janie shuffled the cards and dealt them into 3 equal stacks, while Bat loaded the dishwasher, and Mom heated up some milk and cocoa in the red saucepan, pouring it into 3 mugs when it was just the right temperature. They settled into companionable silence and began flipping over cards, whoever had the highest card taking all 3. After 4 rounds, the first match turned up. Janie and Bat each flipped over a 7. "Banana fish!" they yelled, and then dealt 3 cards face up, waited a moment, and then flipped a 4th card face up. Janie's was a 6. Bat's was a queen. "Banana fish!" he called again, this time in triumph. "Good one, Bat," Janie said nicely, and he smiled. "Thanks," he said, and then, even though he knew the answer, he asked, "Janie, why did you call this game banana fish?" He liked to hear the story every time they played. "Because when you were little, it was hard to get you to play new games with me. You only liked to do things you already knew how to do. And I begged and begged for you to let me to teach you how to play war, but you always said no. And then one day I asked if you wanted to learn how to play a new game called banana fish, because banana and fish were 2 of your favorite words. Even though I didn't like banana-flavored yogurt," Bat added happily. "And you said yes to playing banana fish, even though it was the same exact game you'd been saying no to playing, only with a different name." "It's important to know your audience," Mom said. All 3 of them flipped over another card. Mom's jack was higher than Janie's 9 and Bat's 4, so she took all 3. Bat didn't remember the day Janie taught him banana fish, but he thought Janie had been pretty smart for getting him to play her game after all. Since I wanted to play after you named the game banana fish, he said, maybe I didn't want to play because it was called war. That's a word I don't like. I agree, Mom said. That makes 3, Janie said. Banana fish are definitely better than war. Banana fish are better than war, and being together, cozy in their kitchen, was better than being apart. Chapter 12. A Perfect Night. Friday after school, Bat climbed into Dad's little sports car, sliding over to behind the driver's seat since there was no seatbelt in the middle. Dad was whistling, something Bat liked and something that sort of amazed him. No matter how he tried, Bat couldn't arrange his lips into a proper whistling position. How was your week, Sport? Dad asked as he pulled out of the school parking lot. It was okay, Bat said. Not great. Thursday's after-school visit to Israel's house, when Bat had hoped they would research possible vegetables for their skunk garden project, had instead been spent sitting on the couch while Israel played his new video game and practically ignored him. And though they'd finally gotten the pen built, and though Mom had agreed to let Bat keep it in his room, Bat felt terribly irritated about the fact that this was an every other weekend. Even worse, this would be his first every other weekend without Janie, because she had rehearsal today and tomorrow and a sleepover with a castmate on Saturday night. I've got a surprise for you, Dad said. Is it that you've decided to let Thor spend the weekend with me at your apartment? Bat said, hopeful. No, Dad said. It's baseball tickets. Bat slumped in his seat, defeated. Baseball tickets. It was like his dad was trying to punish him for something. There was almost nothing good about a baseball game, but Bat could nearly make a game out of listing all the things that were bad about one. The lines to park the cars, lines to get through the entry gate, lines to use the bathroom, lines to buy snacks and drink, lines to get your seats. Bat hated waiting in lines. He hated it so much. The crowds. Even when you weren't waiting in line, you were still surrounded by people. Too many bodies squished together into too small a space. The smell of bodies. People said skunks smell bad. That wasn't even true. Skunks only smell bad when they sprayed. Some of the people at a baseball game seemed to smell all the time. 3. The lights. All those bright white fluorescent bulbs flooding the field with their artificial glare, making Bat's eyes feel twitchy. 4. The noise. Oh, the noise. People shouting at the peanut guy. People laughing loudly to each other and calling out to their friends. The announcer over the loudspeaker, booming out information that seemed to Bat to be totally unnecessary. The music. The crowds bursting into cheers when a batter scored a run. Bat loved his dad. He really did. But when his dad made him do something like this, like coming to a baseball game, something he really didn't want to do, Bat wondered if his dad understood him. Because if his dad really understood him, then he would understand that at an event like a baseball game was just about the worst way Bat could imagine spending a Saturday night. We've got good seats, Sport, Dad said, dragging Bat down the aisle and pushing enthusiastically through the crowd. Excuse us, pardon us, he said. The seats didn't look good to Bat. They were too close to the field, which meant there was a higher chance that a stray ball could hit him in the face. What do you think, Dad? Asked after they were settled onto the uncomfortable blue plastic fold-down chairs. Can we go home? Dad asked. Don't be silly, Dad said. They're just taking batting practice. The game hasn't even started yet. Bat didn't want the game to start. He wanted the game to be canceled. But in all the years Dad had been making Bat go to baseball games, only one of them had been canceled, and that was on the account of rain. Bat looked up into the cloudless, clear sky. The horizon was melting into pink and orange as the sun slipped away for the night. It was a beautiful, perfect evening. Bat sighed and shook his head. It was going to be a long night.